Hi there. I'm keeping this intentionally short looking at a clock, but yesterday there was a post in The Hollywood Reporter saying that there were early discussions at HBO's parent company to make a theatrical movie for the Game of Thrones franchise. This is not news in any way, because there have been rumblings about this reported on by major news sites for a year and a half. Since April of 2023. Around the same time, they also greenlit the Dunk and Egg TV series to actually film. There was this big report in Variety at the time saying that they're considering branching out into movies, that because they had new owners because of the Discovery merger, they said, as we're building this nascent World of Westeros cinematic universe, or WWCU, if you will, they said, well, shifting platforms, some of this will be TV shows, some might be animation, some might be video games, and some might be movies. Like how the Marvel Cinematic Universe is a mix of both, or their own in-house, because they own DC Comics, it's a mix of, well, you can have the Penguin, but then you can also have the Batman movies, and they're part of the same thing. So we have already discussed this. This is not even the first time I have to remind people of this. For the past year and a half, it seems like every 3 to 4 months, they go, oh, there's rumblings that there'll be a movie. And I understand, well, there's progress on the discussions for a movie. I get that. But just the general fact they're considering movies for some of these, shift from a TV format to movie format, leads to wish listing and empty speculation as opposed to what is actually in development. Now, the report is probably true that THR's article is made by James Hibbard, who tends to exaggerate things. But generally, he probably heard that, but the way he phrased it was, well, it's in early development. That can mean anything. That term is facile, and people see early development and they think it's already filming. That you go from brainstorming to unofficial discussions with a screenwriter to we formally hired a screenwriter to write a pitch document. And that doesn't mean, oh, I pitched ideas for what we should get for lunch. I mean, a pitch is a formal, structured document with a set length for this is what my treatment of a TV show will be. Next stage after that, if you pass that stage, you get to, we ordered a pilot script to be written. And even if you order a script, that isn't the same thing as greenlighting a pilot to actually film and then greenlighting a full series. There's stages to this. So yeah, there's some discussions and brainstorming. That's what early stages means. It doesn't mean anything other than they're considering it. And the other thing is, even the THR article did say, set in the Game of Thrones fantasy universe. And clearly, because from the other discussions, it's another prequel spin-off. But I have seen articles just dashed off in the past few hours from mainstream news sites that fixated purely on it's Game of Thrones. That means a sequel to the specific series titled Game of Thrones, like after season 8. And an article saying, we don't need this, that show is so ruined. It's just, no, we're talking about prequel spin-offs set in different parts of this universe. Like an article that didn't even consider, they're talking about there's Game of Thrones and the Game of Thrones franchise. Even Warner Discovery is trying to get people to talk about it as the World of Westeros franchise to avoid that confusion. So this is nothing. We have heard this before. I'm keeping this video intentionally short because I've already made multiple videos and even reminder videos about, yeah, they're considering shifting some from TV show format to movie format. What are things that are actually in various stages of development? There are 2 current live-action TV series, House of the Dragon and the new one, the Dunk and Egg series titled A Night of the Seven Kingdoms, coming next year, which in the promo trailer for HBO in 2025, we got 7 seconds of footage from, and Martin has posted behind-the-scenes images from. The Dunk and Egg series is coming next year. That's already finished filming. There are 2 more live-action series which have not been formally greenlit, but which do have writers attached, and they ordered pilot scripts. The first is Targaryen Conquest by Mattson Tomlin, who was a screenwriter on the Matt Reeves Batman movies. And a more recent reboot is Nymeria and the 10,000 Ships of the Rhoynar, now under writer Ebony Booth. This is the third attempt from scratch to make a Nymeria show. There were two other attempts, failed pitches, and a few months ago Martin had a whole blog post about we're restarting again, third time's the charm with Ebony Booth. For that matter, House of the Dragon only got greenlit on the third attempt, so that's not a point against it, that it's the third try. So the only two that are maybe kind of near term are Targaryen Conquest and Nymeria. And the initial report in Variety, April 2023, was they're sort of considering doing this hybrid model where Targaryen Conquest Season 1 kind of works better as a movie. Because it would be like a 5-season show with, like, Season 5 is the fall of Maegor. It goes through Aegon's children. But Season 1 is the conquest itself, the war of conquest. I'm like, yeah, that there isn't that much source material for it. There's not a lot of politicking. It's mostly action. You could do that in like a 3-hour movie or something, and then cut it up, for later TV rebroadcast. They may or may not be doing that. The original rumor was it was Targaryen Conquest would start as a movie. Then again, Tomlin has said, well, I'm actually writing a TV pilot. We're not sure. On the other hand, Nymeria fits the movie format very well because there is not a lot of source material while there is a lot of action and expensive special effects. I mean, there's an army of 300 dragons wiping out the Rhoynar. Then they travel around the Summer Sea. They go to the jungles of Sothorios where there are literally dinosaurs. That it's really expensive without a lot of source material. You make that shorter as a big budget theatrical spectacle. As a movie trilogy, I think would work pretty well for Nymeria, though this is just speculation. So maybe what Hibbard heard is that there's growing talk about make Targaryen Conquest Season 1 as a movie followed by TV seasons. Like how The Penguin followed the Batman movies, it's expanding outward from that. Maybe it's Nymeria. If you were to ask me, I think those are the two most likely candidates because they're the only things that have writers attached right now. Could they be talking about something entirely different? If they were, it's a new pitch starting from scratch, so we wouldn't see it for 5 years. Though I can't rule that out. Like, maybe this is some really early stage of some other thing entirely. But most likely is that they're hearing rumblings about Nymeria being a movie, or Targaryen Conquest being a movie. And I'm keeping this short just because I'm tired of all of the... People don't even Google the news reports on... Just type in Game of Thrones movie and you into Google News search, and you'll see we've been talking about this for 1.5 years. This isn't news. It might be that there's some rumblings of progress on it, but I'm disgusted by the reaction of all of these other news sites to this post of speculation or not even understanding it's a prequel set in a different part of the world, not following the Game of Thrones 8-season TV series, which is silly. So I don't think this is like Doom of Valyria or Bravos or anything like that. There are other ideas they kind of want to do in the world. Targaryen Conquest and Nymeria are the top two candidates because they have actual writers attached right now, and it'll be more like when Marvel shifts format. This thing was meant to be a movie, we turned it into a TV show, or a TV show you turn into a movie. That's it. There are also animated projects, I'm not going to get into that, but keeping this short, it's not really big news. And I've kind of paused I used to have a lot of speculation on upcoming things in the franchise. I've paused all of this because middle of this year, turns out that their parent company, Warner Discovery, has massive internal problems. So any bluster you hear about expanding things, like anything beyond Dunk and Egg, I'm in doubt of. Even though I hope for and encourage like Tomlin's Targaryen Conquest and stuff, there's so many problems at Warner Discovery now. Just hold off on any speculation. If you want to hear more about that, and just some people are like, oh, why are there 8 episodes in House of the Dragon? What a stupid choice. It wasn't a choice. The parent company slashed their budget at the last minute when it was unreasonable to do it right before a writer's strike, just as filming began. They didn't have time to rewrite it. and all of the stupid mistakes going on behind the scenes since the Warner Discovery merger. Just, I have been working for weeks on a full-scale video series analyzing and breaking down the internal problems at HBO's parent company, how this is climaxing by the end of the year. Their CEO, Zazov, might be forced out. A new person might restore the budget again and start greenlighting other projects and movies. So please like and subscribe and stick around. It's the next thing I happen to be posting right after this. It ties into what are other projects are going to do in the franchise is, well, state of the industry, the health of the parent company is directly tied to that.